Hola, Stallions. I am going to teach you a song that is called Buenos Días, the Buenos Días song. And it is to the tune of Farajaca, Farajaca. So you'll recognize the tune. So let's look at the lyrics. Buenos días, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias, muy bien, gracias. Y usted, y usted. Okay, so that translates into good morning, good morning. ¿Cómo estás? Means how are you? How are you? Muy bien, gracias means very well, thank you. Very well, thank you. And you. Okay, so I know I went kind of fast. So buenos días, good days is what it looks like. Goods days. Well, that doesn't translate into goods days. It translates into good morning. But the literal translation does indeed say goods days. I'd like you to think of it as good morning. Días has an accent over the I. We've seen that in Los Días de la Semana. So we've already seen that. We know about the upside down question mark. We've heard about that. ¿Cómo is how. Estás is are you. ¿Cómo estás? How are you? ¿Cómo estás? And then the person says, bien, I'm doing fine today, or mal if they're not doing so well. If they're doing super great, they could say muy bien, very well. Gracias is how we say thank you. All right, so very well, thank you. And then the E right here is the and. We've seen that a lot already this school year. This word is pronounced usted. Usted. It looks like it just says ud, ud, right? But I'm going to type it up here for you. It really says usted. It's an abbreviation. Let's look at that. It's the abbreviation of usted. And usted means you. Okay, usted means you. Now, for those of you who think, oh, I was always taught tú means you. Well, you are also correct. In fact, there are two yous in Spanish. There's the informal tú and the formal usted. The formal usted version is when we want to be really polite to a grown-up, to an adult, someone we've never met before, someone in authority, your boss, for instance, someday, your teachers, police officers, adults, okay? Especially you being the age you are right now, you're a teenager. So when you talk to adults, you want to be respectful and show them respect. You want to use usted with adults. Once you become an adult, then to talk to other adults, you don't necessarily have to use usted because now you're equal, right? In that case, like you're equal kind of a thing. So you would still use usted, though, with an adult you've never met once you yourself are an adult. So the bottom line is use usted with people who are older than you, people you want to impress, people you're trying to be polite to and respectful to. It's a matter of respect and being polite. Usted means you. Do the you match up for me. Check out the you matches with the you. We call it the you hookup, right? The you, easy for me to do. I can't do it. There you go. You matches with you. Then we move on to buenas tardes. Buenas tardes is good afternoon. Good afternoon. Really, it says goods afternoons, right? But we translate into good afternoon. And then how are you? ¿Cómo estás? How are you? Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you. And you. So all of that is a repeat. Nothing new there. I want to go back to buenas tardes to really hone in on the in buenas. So I'm going to highlight it in a different color. Can you check that buenos días and buenas tardes are truly different? Can you see that they're different? Buenos, again, is with an O. Buenas is with an A. Okay, so I'm going to give you a hint on how you can remember this. Let's go to buenos again. The sun rises in the morning. See the sun right here? And the sun is round, like an O is round. Okay, buenos días. Buenas tardes. Tarde means afternoon. Afternoon starts with an A, so buenas has an A. Maybe that is how you'll remember it. To be honest with you, tarde is a feminine noun, afternoon, and that's why it's technically buenas. But I just like to think, hey, afternoon starts with an A, buenas tardes. So in other words, if you said buenos tardes, that would be wrong. That would not work. We're going to go to the last part, buenas noches, and that can mean good evening. It can also mean good night. So it can be used as a greeting. Good evening, folks. How are you tonight? But it can also be used as a good night, like I'm going to bed now, like a goodbye, in other words. So just wanted to point that out. And then the deal with buenas noches is it must be feminine too, huh? I can tell noche, the word night, must be feminine because of the A again in buenas. And indeed, that's the case. Nighttime is feminine. So we've got reminding ourselves, buenos días, but yet buenas tardes and buenas noches, okay? And then I'm going to tell you when to use buenas noches. The rule of thumb is you only use buenas noches when it is dark outside. So in the winter, when it gets dark at 4:45 or 5 o'clock, we start using buenas noches early at 4:45 or 5, right? In the summer, when it stays light out until about 8:30, you're not going to switch to buenas noches until 8:30 or 9, right? Until it's dark. So you want to reserve using buenas noches for when it is dark. Okay, that is the rule of thumb. Dark time, buenas noches. So in other words, you keep with buenas tardes until it gets dark and you switch to buenas noches. So with that in mind, really buenas tardes can also be good evening, can't it? If we're talking 7 o'clock in the summer, it's not the afternoon anymore, it's the evening, but yet it's bright sunny still, hot as heck, hot as blazes, sunny. And you're saying buenas tardes because it's sunny, it's not dark. So it gets a little confusing. Just think to yourself, keep it buenas noches when it's dark and life will be great. You'll never screw it up. You stay buenas tardes until it gets dark and you switch over, okay? All right, let's listen to the song. Vamos a escuchar la canción. Let me grab it.
Buenos días, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, gracias, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? ¿Y usted? Now it's going to go into English. I'm going to skip that part if I can.
Good morning.
I guess not.
How are you?
Oh,
How are
that's
you?
okay. We can hear it in English.
Very well, thank you. Very well, thank you. How about you?
But it really just says, and you, to be honest with you. Okay. Buenas tardes, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? ¿Y usted? And then the English, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. How are you? How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Very well, thank you.
And you, and you. Buenas noches, here we go. Buenas noches, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás? Muy bien, gracias, muy bien, gracias. ¿Y usted? ¿Y usted? And that is it. Gracias, stallions.